Rather, what nearly all suicide terrorist attacks have in common is a specific secular and strategic goal to compel modern democracies to withdraw military forces from territory that the terrorists consider to be their homeland. And the irony is, when we talk about terrorism, the irony is that the opposition and the Muslim terrorists, the Al-Qaeda types, actually have one thing in common, because they both believe that Islam is a warlike, violent religion. They both agree on that. They have everything in common. Osama bin Laden would be nodding along to everything he's heard tonight from the opposition side. He agrees with them.
Assalamu alaikum, my dear family. Welcome back to Meme Studio channel. It truly warms my heart to be here again. If this is your first time here, we're truly honored to have you. And hi from Indonesia. It's such a joy and an honor to be here with all of you, my dear brothers and sisters in faith, wherever you may be. You're welcome to say hi in the comments and let us know which part of the world you're watching from. It would be so beautiful to see this home filled with love and salams from every corner of the globe. In today's video, I want to bring you something exciting and maybe even eye-opening for those influenced by Islamophobia. A prestigious debate that took place at the Oxford Union with the motion, "This House believes Islam is a religion of peace." In this debate, Mehdi Hasan, along with several colleagues, spoke in support of the motion, while Anne-Marie Waters and her team stood firmly in opposition. Anne-Marie Waters is a British political activist, widely known as a controversial figure with strong anti-Islam views. She's often described as a hardline critic of Islam because of her sharp and provocative stance against its teachings and the Muslim community. Both sides clashed head-to-head, arguing whether Islam is truly a religion of peace or not. Unfortunately, there's no full reaction video available for Anne-Marie Waters' side, so we can't show you her complete speech with reactors. But don't worry, I've included a short clip of Anne-Marie's remarks, so you'll be able to follow along smoothly when we get into Mehdi Hasan's rebuttal. Let's take a look.
And I will describe what Islam is doing in the real world. We can sit and we can debate theocracy day in, day out. We will never agree. We can debate, is there a God, isn't there a God, is the Quran real, isn't it? None of it actually matters. What matters is what happens in the real world, as my opponent quite rightly said. My side of the argument is regularly told that we've heard it again tonight, we were described somewhat as hate. We were told that we are demonizing Islam, whipping up fear of Islam. Not the first time I've been accused of this, probably won't be the last. But let me just say, and let's take this into the real world as we've been advised to do, let me tell you what actually whips up fears of Islam. We would take it from the top: 9/11, the London Underground bombings, Madrid, Mumbai, Mali, Bali, Northern Nigeria, Sudan, Afghanistan, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Yemen, Pakistan, death for apostasy, death for blasphemy, death for adultery, death for homosexuality, gender segregation, gender discrimination, unequal testimony between men and women in legal proceedings, child marriage, amputations, beheadings, imprisonment for being raped, anti-Semitism, burqas, execution, as I've said, for this, that and the other, the slaughter of Theo van Gogh on the streets of Amsterdam, death threats on the streets of London, butcher those who insult Islam, Muslim patrols in East London telling people they are entering Sharia-controlled zones, polygamous marriages, marriage not requiring the consent of the bride. This is what causes fear of Islam. It is not me, it is not my colleagues on this side.
Point of information on that point. If Islam and Muslims are responsible for the Muslim patrols,
I'm not finished. I'm not. I mean, let me speak on. But the point is that it is not I or my fellow debaters on this side who are causing fear of Islam. It is the actions of Muslims that are causing fear of Islam. That is the real world. That is where we actually live. Then we'll be told that this is just the extreme fringe of Islam. Well, let me have a look at Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is the birthplace of Islam, the custodian of its holy site.
And yo, what about the final result of this big debate? I'll reveal it at the end of the video, okay? So stick around. Bismillah.
They're having a debate at Oxford University. They're having a debate, is Islam a peaceful religion? And like all these like professors are coming up and saying like, no, Islam is like horrible and all this kind of stuff. And Mehdi Hasan comes up with this argument, and it's a really interesting video.
Alright.
Yeah? Okay.
Go for it.
Should be interesting, guys. Let's get it.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Assalamu alaikum. Lovely to see you all here tonight. We are having a very entertaining night, are we not, with some very interesting things being said. From the other side of the house tonight, let me begin by saying, as a Muslim, as a representative of Islam, I would consider myself an ambassador for Islam, a believer in Islam, a follower of Islam and its Prophet. So, in that capacity, let me begin by apologizing to Anne-Marie for the Bali bombings. I apologize for the role of my religion and me and my people, for the killing of Theo van Gogh, for 7/7. Yes, that was all of us. That was Islam, that was Muslims, that was the Quran. I mean, astonishing claims to make in the very first speech tonight, on a day like today, where the Conservative Prime Minister of the United Kingdom is having to come out and point out that these kind of views are anathema. And I believe you're trying to stand for the Labour Party to become an MP in Brighton.
Just because one person does one thing doesn't mean the entire group does the same thing. Why there's a word, stereotypes. We form these already made opinions about people we never even cross paths with. So once we meet them, we're even scared of them. Why are you scared of someone who has not even dared to harm you or anything?
Let's go ahead and see this, man, because at the end of the day, I do believe in Islam, and I do believe Islam is a peaceful religion. That's what we've been trying to spread here in the Watwa family.
Otherwise, we should deal with these societal stereotypes that have been formed by the Western world, that they shouldn't make you think that you're less developed than them.
This is Fanny Langu. She's a non-Muslim reactor from the United States who runs the channel Fanny and Jesse Reacts. Don't forget to support her channel.
You develop at your own pace, you get civilized at your own pace, and everything else that was mentioned was very, very interesting.
If you do, and you make these comments, I'm guessing you'll have the whip withdrawn from you, but then again, UKIP's on the rise, they'll take you, the BNP, they might have something to say about your views.
This is what Mehdi Hasan always does.
By the way, just on a
always do.
factual point, since we heard a lot about the second speaker, about how backward we Muslims all are, on a factual point, you said that Islam was born in Saudi Arabia. Islam was born in 610 AD. Saudi Arabia was born in 1932 AD. So you were only 1,322 years off. Not bad? Not bad start there. Talking of maths, by the way, a man named Al-Khawarizmi was one of the greatest mathematicians of all time, a Muslim, worked in the golden age of Islam. He's the guy who came up with not just algebra, but algorithms. Without algorithms, you wouldn't have laptops. Without laptops, Daniel Johnson tonight wouldn't have been able to print out his speech in which he came to berate us Muslims for holding back the advance and intellectual achievements of the West.
Okay, first thing before we continue, I like the fact that there is this back and forth right now, because we have a side that is speaking their side or debating their side, and then we have the other one debating their sides as well. This is a good way to communicate, or to kind of like...
Rukia. She is a content creator from the Philippines and the owner of the Rukia Dagtan channel. She actively reacts to Islamic content from the Muslim world. Don't forget to check out her channel and send some encouragement her way.
How do you say this? To just put it out there, you know, your side of the story, and this could also open a lot of people's mind, okay, to why you stand for this side and why the other person stands for this side. Like, you will have a sense of realization. So this is healthy. it's a healthy way of like discussion. So that is the first thing I want to say. And let's go back. This is so interesting.
Which all happened without any contribution from anyone else other than the Judeo-Christian people of Europe. In fact, Daniel David Levering, the author of the Pulitzer Prize-winning historian and author of The Golden Crucible, points out that there would be no Renaissance, there would be no Reformation in Europe without the role played by Ibn Sina and Ibn Rushd and some of the great Muslim theologians, philosophers, scientists in bringing Greek texts to Europe. As for this being our university, I will leave that to the imagination as to who is our and who is there. I studied here too. An astonishing set of speeches so far making this case tonight. A mixture of just cherry-picked quotes, facts and figures, self-serving, selective, a farrago of distortions, misrepresentations, misinterpretations, misquotations. Daniel talked about my article in the New Statesman, which got me a lot of flack, where I talked about the anti-Semitism that is prevalent in some parts of the Muslim community, which indeed it is. Of course, I didn't say in that piece that it was caused by the religion of Islam. In fact, modern anti-Semitism in the Middle East was imported from, finish the sentence, Christian, Judeo-Christian Europe, where I believe some certainly bad things happened to the Jewish people. In fact, Tom Friedman, Jewish-American columnist in the New York Times, told me in this very chamber last week that he believed, had Muslims been running Europe in the 1940s, 6 million extra Jews would still be alive today. So I'm not going to take lessons in anti-Semitism from someone who's here to defend the Judeo-Christian values of a continent that murdered 6 million Jews.
Well, I think he was a really clever man, actually, and I think he found right three muckers to talk to. All right, and he hunted high and low for them, didn't he? I know, he went to Parliament. He could have found 100 of them, couldn't he?
Yeah, this guy's so clever. Excuse me. He knows exactly what's going on. He's facts and figures guy. And he's out to rip Christianity to bits. Because they've done nothing but rip him to bits in the last little while. And this guy is on American TV now. I think he's a CNN presenter. I watch him regularly. He's very, very clever.
You know, when you don't know about the religion, you just make your interpretation. You don't read about the books. You know, the more you study the religion and try to understand the religious books, you know, like it's all about love, compassion, and just showing love to your neighbor, like treats everyone as equal and all of that. So it takes a whole lot. I love this guy so much. I admire him a lot. Like,
The owner of The Lone Wolf Diaries is a Muslim brother, though not much else is known about him. In this reaction video, he's joined by his friend, a Christian woman named Doyas. Check out and support our brother's channel.
I used to watch him on Al Jazeera a whole lot.
Okay.
So, yeah, like he's really smart. He's really smart.
Is he a presenter?
Yeah, he's really good.
Wow.
He's really smart.
Moving swiftly on. Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm about to make that point. No, I'm about to make that point. You're right. I agree with you. I agree with you 110%. That is my point. I don't think Europe is evil or bad. I'm a very proud European. I don't want to judge Europe on that basis, but if we're going to play this gutter game where we pull out the Bali bombing and we pull out examples of anti-Semitism in the Islamic community, then of course I'm going to come back and say, well, hold on. I mean, look, let's be very clear. Daniel here was a last-minute replacement for Douglas Murray, who had to pull out. And Douglas and I have a well-documented differences, but to be fair to Douglas, as to be fair to Anne-Marie and to Peter, atheists. Atheists see all religions as evil, violent, threatening. What the problem I have with Daniel's speech is that Daniel comes here to run this robust defense of Christianity, forgetting that his fellow Christians, people who said they were acting in the name of Jesus, gave us the Crusades, the Spanish Inquisition, the anti-Jewish pogroms, European colonialism in Africa and Asia, the Lord's Resistance Army in Uganda, not to mention countless arson and bomb attacks on abortion clinics in the United States of America to this very day. I would like a little bit of humility from Daniel first before he begins lecturing other communities and other faiths on violence, terror, and intolerance. But, no thank you. Some water.
At the course of Hassan teaching, he was talking about the Crusaders. He talks about the anti-Semitism. He also talks about the colonialism in Africa. I will not particularly say that all these things were actually carried out by Christians. I will say that these things were all motivated politically.
Next, we have Apostle Newton Silas, He's a Christian reactor from the United States, and he is the owner of the channel The Lifestyle NMS. Let's visit and support his channel as well.
Because if you look at Christianity per se, we won't actually says that Christianity actually happened in Europe, but Europe only helps in spreading Christianity to Africa.
I love his speech. I love the way he's being calculated. He knows what to say, and he's taking everything a step at a time, and I'm really enjoying these debates right now.
And when you look at the anti-Semitism, the war against the Jews, how the Jews were all murdered and all that, I would say that they are all politically motivated, and not that it was Christians who were actually killing the Jews. Because of course Christianity, of course we have an interrelationship between the Christians and the Jews. And of course, we have a similar way of believing things. Like, for instance, Jesus Christ was a Jew. It was after the death of Jesus Christ that the believers, those who followed him, they called them Christians.
But I would say this, to address the gentleman's very valid point here, I'm not going to play that game. I don't actually believe that Christianity is a religion of violence and hate because of what the LRA does in Uganda, or what Crusaders did to Jews and Muslims in Jerusalem when they took back the city in the 12th or 13th or whatever century it was. I believe that Christianity, like Islam, like pretty much every mainstream religion, is based on love and compassion and faith. I do follow a religion in which 113 out of the 114 chapters of the Quran begins by introducing the God of Islam as a God of mercy and compassion. I would not have it any other way. I don't follow a religion which introduces my God to me as a God of war, as some kind of Greek God of wrath, as a God of hate and injustice. Not at all. As Adam pointed out, you go through the Quran and you see the mercy and the love and the justice. And yes, you have verses that refer to warfare and violence. Of course it does. This is not a motion about pacifism. I'm not here to argue that Islam is a pacifistic faith. It is not.
I feel like people gotta be able to separate the religion from the human nature, you know?
Exactly.
Because although there's wars that are attributed to religion and stuff like that and are caused maybe because of it.
Yeah, I personally love the video. I think he's so clever.
He's very clever, and he put him in his place. Whatever he was talking about, he'd put him in his place because he did his own work.
We have Aisha Rosalie. Our sister Aisha is a Muslim revert from the United Kingdom. You know, she seems to really love this debate video. In this one, she watches the debate together with her non-Muslim mother. And in another, she invited 5 non-Muslim reactors to join and share their thoughts. Truly inspiring, the way she spreads the message of Islam, with whatever means she has. Make sure to visit and support our sister's channel, Aisha Rosalie.
He knew what he was talking about. They just sat there completely
Sometimes it's just human nature, you know? People have this innate I guess need for war, you know, and it's always been around. Even now there's some stuff happening around the world.
Exactly.
You know, but I guess people got to be able to differentiate between that, because there is a lot of hate towards people, more so nowadays. I feel like it's becoming more aware of the hate towards Muslims, the blacks, the Asians. There's just a lot going on.
Yeah.
Islam allows military action, violence in certain limited contexts. And yes, a minority of Muslims do take it out of that context. But is it religious? We talked about Woolwich. Daniel and Anne-Marie have suggested that it's definitely religion that's behind all of this. Well, actually, what I find so amusing tonight is we're having a debate about Islam, and the opposition tonight have come forward. We have a graduate in law, a graduate in modern history, a graduate in chemistry, and you know, I admire all of their intellects and their abilities, but we don't have anyone who's actually an expert on Islam, a scholar of Islam, a historian of Islam, a speaker of Arabic, even a terrorism expert or a security expert or a pollster, let alone to talk about what Muslims believe or think. Instead, we have people coming here, putting forward these views, putting forward these sweeping opinions.
Now guys, y'all know I've been Muslim for a year now. I took my Shahada August 14th, 2020. So that was, it was a year ago. So I've been a Muslim for a year, and this is just what I'm gonna say, guys, and this is just how I feel. Islam is the religion of peace. From what I've read in the Quran, it's the religion of peace.
Victor. He is a reactor from the United States and the owner of the YouTube channel Mr. Watwa. He made this video 1 year after he decided to embrace Islam. Please remember to visit and support our brother's channel, inshallah.
Now, what has been going on is people have been pushing an agenda. People have been trying to figure out what to blame things on, and they've been trying to relate things to religion. Now, whenever there was something going on, especially, you know, here in the US, when certain, you know, tragedies was going on, people never said, oh, it was Christianity that did that. Christianity is the reason why all of these people are, you know, going through this stuff. No, never seen anything being related towards religion in that sense when it comes from someone that is not, you know, Muslim.
Listen to Professor Robert Pape of the University of Chicago, one of America's leading terrorism experts, who, unlike our esteemed opposition tonight, studied every single case of suicide terrorism between 1980 and 2005, 315 cases in total. And he concluded, and I quote, "There is little connection between suicide terrorism and Islamic fundamentalism or any of the world's religions. Rather, what nearly all suicide terrorist attacks have in common is a specific secular and strategic goal to compel modern democracies to withdraw military forces from territory that the terrorists consider to be their homeland." And the irony is, when we talk about terrorism, the irony is that the opposition and the Muslim terrorists, the Al-Qaeda types, actually have one thing in common. Because they both believe that Islam is a warlike, violent religion. They both agree on that. They have everything in common. Osama bin Laden would be nodding along to everything he's heard tonight from the opposition side. He agrees with them. The problem is that mainstream Muslims don't. The majority of Muslims around the world don't. In fact, a gentleman here started quoting all sorts of polls. Gallup carried out the biggest poll of Muslims around the world, of 50,000 Muslims in 35 countries. 93% of Muslims rejected 9/11 and suicide attacks. And of the 7% who didn't, they all, when polled and focus grouped, cited political reasons for their support for violence, not religious reasons.
He just came in there and just mic drop and left, you know?
Yeah. He dropped a lot of great facts, right? And a lot of things that you can really like have a conversation with others about, and you know, really look at the essence of all religion, right? So like every religion is trying to
teach people to do good.
Exactly, right? And be humble and worship our Creator, right?
Afar and Tim, both from Canada. Afar is our brother in faith, while Tim is a Christian. Together, they run the channel Talk About It. Go visit and make sure to support their channel too.
So, and I think that people get lost in the actions that others have misinterpreted and done bad things from it, and focus on that negativity where the fundamentals of that religion is being overshadowed, right? So.
Yeah. And as for Islamic scholars and what they say, well, Daniel talks about our University of Oxford. We'll go down to Oxford Centre for Islamic Studies, get hold of a man named Sheikh Afifi Al-Akiti, who is a massively well-credentialed and well-respected Islamic scholar who has studied across the world, who in the days after 7/7 published a fatwa denouncing terrorism in the name of Islam, calling for the protection of all non-combatants at all times, and describing suicide bombings as an innovation with no basis in Islamic law. Go and listen to Sheikh Tahir al-Qadri, one of Pakistan's most famous Islamic scholars, who published a 600-page fatwa condemning the killing of all innocents and all suicide bombings unconditionally without any ifs or buts. There's nothing new here. This is mainstream Islam, mainstream scholarship, which has said this for years. You don't go out and kill people willy-nilly in the high street or anywhere else, on a bus or a mall, based on verses of the Quran that you cherry-pick without any context, any understanding, any interpretation, or any commentary. Please. Well, it
doesn't happen apparently.
I didn't say it doesn't happen at all. I never said it didn't happen. I don't blame Islam. Yes, it's a very good point. And a lot of us are campaigning against that. And we're campaigning against it in the name of Islam. We're campaigning against it in the name of various interpretations of Islam. Anne-Marie comes and scares us with her talk of Sharia law. I would like to see the book of Sharia law. It doesn't exist.
We have to make sure that we show them the right and the true Islam. And they have to, if they want to know, to learn about Islam, they know where to go. That's the two things.
His name is Marwan Hamoud, the owner of the Ups and Downs of Life channel. Sadly, he hasn't been active on YouTube for about 3 years. But you can still visit his channel and make sure to show your support for our brother.
And we cannot force anyone to become a Muslim. We're not here to take over the country as the media is saying. We're not here to apply the Sharia law, and he said there is no Sharia law book. If you have one, show me, I want to see it. So all these things, which is misconceptions about Islam, which is that they are here to take over the country, they're here to apply the Sharia law, and these people are terrorists.
People argue over what Sharia law is, and you empower the extremists by saying there is only one version. You empower them all. I don't believe you took any interruptions, Anne-Marie, so I think you should stay there for a moment.
Several countries.
Here's what we're dealing with. Here's what we're dealing with. We are dealing, I took your point. Here we are dealing with a 1400-year-old global religion, followed by 1.6 billion people in every corner of the world, a quarter of humanity, of all backgrounds, cultures, ethnicities. And yet the opposition tonight wants to generalize, stereotype, smear in order to desperately win this debate. And here's my question, if we're going to generalize and smear. If, okay, people say yesterday's bombers, and we've got to be careful, there's a trial going on, were yesterday's attackers, motivated by Islam? Big debate. I don't believe they were. Let's say they were. Let's say Faisal Shahzad, the Times Square bomber, was motivated by Islam. Let's assume, for sake of argument, that Richard Reeves, the shoe bomber, was motivated by Islam. If Islam is responsible for these killings, if Islam is what is motivating these people, and Islam is therefore not a religion of peace, a religion of war, then ask yourself this question: why aren't the rest of us doing it? Why is it such a tiny minority of Muslims?
Exactly. I was going to mention this at the end. If it's just something I've been thinking. If Islam, tells the people, the followers, to kill innocent people, why is everyone not doing it?
Meet Seishi, a lovely soul from the United Kingdom. When she filmed this reaction, she was a practicing Christian. But alhamdulillah, she has since embraced Islam and is now our sister in faith. Let's show her some massive love. Head over to her channel, hit that support, and welcome her into our global family with open arms.
Why is the majority not doing it? That was something I was going to mention in after this video. Think about it. Think about it.
One good argument would be, why are there so many branches of Christianity? It's because they don't believe in the same thing. So why is it that because one person in Islam believes in terrorism, everybody should? Right? So basically, it doesn't mean like if one person believes in something, everybody does. We all have different mind perceptions, and anyways, he's making a great point. I like the way that he explains.
If Islam is responsible for these killings, if Islam is what is motivating these people, and Islam is therefore not a religion of peace, a religion of war, then ask yourself this question: why aren't the rest of us doing it? Why is it such a tiny minority of Muslims are interpreting their religion in the way that the opposition claim they are? Let's assume there are 16,000 suicide bombers in the world. There aren't. Let's assume there are for the sake of argument. That's 0.001% of the Muslim population globally. What about the other 99.99% of Muslims who the opposition tonight either ignore or smear? The reality is that the rest of us aren't blowing ourselves up tonight. The reality is that the opposition came here tonight not worried about the fact that me and Adam might pull open our jackets and blow ourselves up tonight because we're followers of a warlike warrior religion which wants to take over Europe and Daniel's university. The issue is this. The issue is this. Unless the opposition can tell us tonight, and Peter Atkins is here, one of our great atheist intellectuals, can tell us tonight, can answer this question tonight: why don't the vast majority of Muslims around the world behave as violently and aggressively as a tiny minority of politically motivated extremists? Then they might as well give up and stop pretending they have anything relevant to say about Islam or Muslims as a whole. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just say this to you. Think about what the opposite of this motion is. If you vote no tonight, think about what you're saying the opposite of motion is. That Islam isn't a religion of peace, it's a religion of war, of violence, of terror, of aggression. That the people who follow Islam, me, my wife, my retired parents, my 6-year-old child, that 1.8 million of your fellow British residents and citizens, that 1.6 billion people across the world, your fellow human beings, are all followers, promoters, believers in a religion of violence. Do you really think that? Do you really believe that to be the case?
Well, I knew this guy was going to be good from the opening 2 minutes that I didn't actually watch, but he ripped these guys a new arse.
His name is Gary Riley from the United Kingdom. Unfortunately, he hasn't been active on YouTube for the past 3 years. We hope he's doing well. Let's still visit and support his channel, Clueless Reacts.
Basically, he went up the atheists, the Christians, the non-believers, the heretics, the powermongers, the people who are panic-stricken. He just ripped them to bits with facts and figures. He's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
They say that in the Oxford Union, the most famous debate was in 1933 when Adolf Hitler looked out for the result of the King and Country motion, where they voted against fighting for King and Country, and Hitler was listening out for the result. Well, tonight, 80 years on, there are two groups of people around the world who I would argue are waiting for the result of tonight's vote. There are the millions of peaceful, non-violent, law-abiding Muslims both in the UK, Europe, Asia, Africa and beyond, who see Islam as the source of their identity, as a source of spiritual fulfillment, of hope, of solace. And there are the phobes, the haters, the bigots out there who want to push the clash of civilizations, who want to divide all of us into them and us and ours and their. Ladies and gentlemen, I urge you all not to fuel the arguments of the phobes and bigots. Don't legitimize their divisions. Don't legitimize their hate. Trust those Muslims who you know, who you've met, who you hear, who don't believe in violence, who do want you to hear the peaceful message of the Quran as they believe it to be taught to the majority of Muslims, the Islam of peace and compassion and mercy, the Islam of the Quran, not of Al-Qaeda. Ladies and gentlemen, I beg to propose this motion to the House. I urge you to vote yes tonight. Thank you very much for your time.
If the Muslims are committing their crimes physically, the Christians are also committing their crime in such a way that you may not really understand it except you pay close attention to what they are doing.
Up next, we have Michael. He's a non-Muslim content creator from the United States and the owner of the channel Michael TV. Let's show our support for his channel as a form of appreciation for his work.
For instance, America and the West, when they introduced colonization in Africa, those people were Christians. Even to date, they are still colonizing, though they are doing it, employing different strategies.
I love how it hits the point deep.
This is Divine, a Christian from the United Kingdom. In this session, he's joined by his friend, the owner of the channel Peacescent Makeover. Don't forget to check them out and show your support.
His point was clear. You don't have to come out and say, talking about the killings, the crisis that really happened. He himself, he had to come up and defend Muslims. And that I actually accept.
Islamic religion is not a violent religion, as the way people are taking it to be, because even in Christianity, we have people that don't hear words. They do things ignorantly, what I'm saying?
I just can't understand why these things keep going on. Why can't people just mind their own religion? Why can't you focus on your religion, serve God in truth and in spirit on your own religion? This is appalling, guys, and I do not know how long this could continue. I don't really know. Okay, guys, that was quite educative and informative. One thing I've learned is whether you are a Muslim.
Oh wow, what an incredible debate. The way Mehdi Hasan dismantled the arguments and accusations from the opposition was just so sharp and impressive. Alright, now let's look at the final result. Out of all the votes cast, 286 said yes, supporting the motion that Islam is a religion of peace. Meanwhile, 168 voted no, rejecting the motion. So in the end, 63% of the audience at this prestigious intellectual forum agreed that Islam is a religion of peace. Please remember to visit and support the channels of everyone featured in this video. They have shown great dedication in learning about Islam. Until next time, my dear brothers and sisters, may peace and blessings be with you always. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.